won't believe the incredible journey of a wild lion that took an unexpected turn from the heart of the South African rainforest to the busy streets of a human town. This is not a typical animal story. Imagine a curious young lion just exploring, when suddenly a simple plastic box becomes a terrifying trap. His head stuck, unable to see or eat, he's left struggling, desperate, and completely alone as his pride moves on. In the middle of the South African rainforest, a group of lions played near an old garbage dump. A big plastic box, which had held cooking oil, rolled in front of them. A curious young male lion bent his head to smell it, then put his head inside the box to look around. The smell of leftover food made it try to lick the inside. Its head got stuck deep inside and it could not pull it out. The sharp, hard plastic box clamped tightly around its neck, making it panic and struggle. It roared, shook its head, and rolled on the dry ground, but the box stayed on. The other lions watched at first but did not know how to help, so they left to keep playing. The lion ran around the group, hitting branches and rocks, hoping something would knock the box off. Each time it hit something, its neck hurt and the box got stuck tighter. Finally, in pain and panic, it left the group and ran into the deep, dark forest. Unable to see or eat, it began to wander without direction for days. At first, it struggled, but slowly, it just walked like a shadow with nowhere to go. With each day, its body became very thin, and its ribs stuck out under its dry, tough skin. Its once golden fur was now falling out in clumps, covered in mud, and had turned a dirty black. The box tightened around its neck, making it hard to breathe and keeping its body temperature high. Its weak legs gave out many times, but its instinct to survive still made it stand up. No more roaring, no more struggling. It just walked quietly. Vultures started to fly above, smelling the scent of death on the wind. All other wild animals avoided it as if it were a strange, dying creature. Its eyes could no longer see clearly. Its hearing was blurry, and its head ached as if it would explode. There was no shade, no water, and no living thing would come near. It had fallen into a terrible situation. Slow footsteps dragged on the hot ground. Only a weak heart held on to. A little bit of hope. By the fifth day, its body was almost completely worn out, with only fast breathing left. Then, somehow, it slowly left the forest, heading towards new places. It smelled people in tar, and something else that was different from the wild world it had known. It went through a broken fence near the edge of the wildlife reserve, going straight onto a paved road near houses. For the first time in its life, the wild lion went into human areas, not to hunt, but to ask for help. Jason and Amara, two tourists, were on their way back to the hotel when they suddenly saw a creature step into the middle of the road. Jason quickly pressed the brakes when he realized it was a lion with a box covering its head. Amara screamed in fear, but then understood that the animal was not attacking. It was just stumbling. It was so thin that its bones were showing, its fur was patchy, and it walked as if it would collapse at any moment. Jason calmly took out his phone and called the park's emergency number as his tour guide had told him to. Amara took a water bottle and cake and placed them gently on the side of the road, staying far enough away to avoid causing more fear. The operator confirmed that rangers were coming, asked them to mark their location, and to stay away. Jason tied his white shirt to a tree branch by the roadside as an easy sign to spot. Amara held Jason's hand, her eyes never leaving the lion, which was lying there, struggling to breathe at the side of the road. It had reached the end of its strength, waiting only for help or for the end. About 30 minutes later, a conservation truck arrived with two rangers, Reuben and Tabo. They quickly got out of the car, carrying stun guns, nets, ropes, and a large iron cage. Reuben looked at the scene and signaled for Jason and Amara to move to a safe distance. Tabo stepped forward, slowly aiming the tranquilizer gun at the lion's back leg. A popping sound was heard, and the small needle went into its hind thigh, making it twitch and fall down. Both rangers walked closer. checking its breathing and how it responded to make sure the drug had worked. The box was looked at carefully. It was covered with dirt and sand and smelled very bad. Reuben took his scissors and carefully cut each layer of hard plastic off the lion's neck. The wound was so deep that the inside could be seen, causing pain to anyone who saw it. Finally, after a few careful minutes, the plastic box came off, showing the lion's head for the first time in days. Its head was covered in scratches. Its eyes were sunken, its nose was chapped, and its ears were drooping from being so tired. They gently put it on a stretcher, wrapped a cloth around its neck, and moved it to the rescue cage. Tabo locked the cage, and Reuben stood there, letting out a breath as if he had just finished a life-or-death rescue. He turned to Jason and Amara, bowed his head to thank them, and said, "You two truly saved it." Jason nodded, and Amara wiped away her tears, smiling with relief, knowing she had done the right thing. The pickup truck drove off with the lion, leaving a feeling of emptiness behind Dot in the cage. The lion slept soundly, its chest rising and falling gently like a life being protected. And so, from being almost dead, it had a chance to live again thanks to brave and kind people. At the sanctuary's medical center, a team of veterinarians was ready. As soon as the vehicle arrived, the lion was taken to a separate room and placed on an examination table with modern support equipment. The main doctor injected antibiotics, gave fluids, and anti-shock drugs to make sure the patient was stable. The neck area was cleaned, and the wound was stitched and covered with soft gauze and an antibacterial solution. They scraped off dirt from its fur, noted sores, and found signs of slight liver damage. The lion stayed unconscious, but its body signs became stable after the first few hours. They watched every breath, every heartbeat, and took turns staying by its side all night long. The first meal was a liquid meat soup fed through a tube, which helped prevent its digestive system from going into shock. Its dull eyes slowly opened the next morning, blinking a little as if feeling the first light in many days. Everyone smiled as they saw the creature, which had been close to death, come back from despair. 2 weeks passed, and the lion slowly got better. It ate more, could walk, and its skin began to heal. New hair grew in, and the areas that had lost hair were replaced by short, shiny fur. It began to roar softly in its cage, a natural reaction that slowly came back whenever there was a strange sound. Every day it was taken out into a semi-wild yard to sunbathe, practice walking, and get used to the grass. The doctor's checkup showed that it was completely healthy and could live on its own in the forest again. A month later, Reuben and Tabo took on one final job to return it to the area where it belonged. In the car, it sat in a partially open iron cage, watching the familiar scenery pass by. The car stopped in the North Shlushlue area where lions once lived and are still there today. Reuben unlocked the cage and stepped back, leaving the door open. Light came in from the windy, quiet meadow. The lion stepped out, its feet touching the soft ground, standing still for a few seconds as if realizing it was home. From far away, a few other lions raised their heads. Looking towards their missing friend Dot, it took a deep breath, walked slowly toward the bushes, then suddenly turned back. Its eyes met Reuben and Tabo, the people who brought it back from death and gave it a chance to live. There was no roar, no step forward, just a silent but thankful look, like a quiet goodbye. Then it turned away, disappearing behind the thick bushes where the wind called softly. Jason and Amara were later honored at a wildlife conservation festival held in Durban. They shared the story with tears, inspiring hundreds of people to join environmental programs. Reuben and Tabo continued their quiet work as rangers. Every time they patrolled the grasslands, the plastic box was kept at the center as a warning symbol against waste and accidental harm. And that lion, now strong and free, became a living reminder of the good in humanity.